Hello, friends. I am Leah Slayton, and I'm the Executive Director here at Well of Mercy, and this is your post-Easter devotion for the week. I was thinking about the last house that we lived in, and it was a place where I had a craft room. And to get to that room, you had to walk up the stairs and through the attic. And once you entered the room, you had to walk all the way to the other side to get to the light switch. Now, when the sun was out, that was no problem. But when the moon was taking its turn, that march across the rug was very dark. And even though I knew that room well, it didn't take much for me to bump into something. But I found that if I stopped and I stood still for just a second or two, my eyes would adjust and I could see just enough to get across to the light switch. Now, eyeballs are pretty amazing things in that they can adjust like that, which makes me wonder what might happen if other things than our eyeballs had time to adjust. Like if our souls had time to adjust to shadows until we could see God's light filtering in. Because we're not created to barrel through life with all of its complexities, never taking the time to adjust for just a minute to discern where God might be shining light. And you may have heard the story about this fellow who had this big work project out in the wilds, and he hired some native tribesmen to navigate for him. And for several days, they made rapid progress. I mean, they were getting things done. It was a busy and productive time. But then the tribesmen stopped, apparently for no reason. And eventually, the guy in charge said, "Hey, what the heck is going on here? Come on, let's get to it." And their answer was, "We have been moving so fast, too fast, and we had to stop and wait for our souls to catch up." We all move too fast. Even those of us who are physically slow, boy, we move fast with our endless to-do list, our projects, our commitments, our worries, our stuff. And none of that's wrong, but how often do we take the time to stop and let our souls catch up? To let our tired, overworked, overstuffed brains slow down and empty out a little, to reboot and refresh. So if you're someone like me who gets overwhelmed by bad news, who occasionally believes that the entire world is going to hell in a handbasket, or who just feels like they have taken all that they can take, it is okay to give yourself a moment or two, or a day or two, or 3 or 4, to adjust. In fact, it is healthy to not run to the next responsibility until we see a sliver of God's light. Now, if you've had major life-changing events, that adjustment time is going to be a little bit longer. No shame in that. But if you observe the world and you find yourself about to trip over despair or hopelessness that you did not see in your path, give yourself a moment to adjust, to let your soul catch up to wherever you are, and look for the places where the light gets in, because they're there. In fact, they are here. So come visit the well and look for the light with us.